The Global AI Impact Summit is currently underway in India. The gathering in New Delhi is a fourth such event and the first held in a developing nation. For more, we can speak to Dr. Melanie Garson, an associate professor of international security at University College London. Hello to you, and thank you for speaking to Paris Direct. First of all,
Good afternoon.
let's begin with the event itself. What is its point, and what challenges does it face?
So this event is the Outplay. The first one was held in Bletchley Park in the UK back in 2023, and it was aimed to try and get some consensus on principles regarding AI's safety at the iteration. It then changed its name, so it was originally the AI Summit. Now it's was renamed last year in Paris to the AI Impact Summit, and it's really trying to get global leadership together for some level of agreement on what is the trajectory of AI and thinking about principles for governance of AI.
Yeah, getting world leaders to declare a sort of shared stance on anything sounds almost impossible. Is that realistic, and is it necessary?
That's a really great question. Realistically, and we've already seen this in today's speeches earlier today, when the US was absolutely unequivocal about they will not, agree to any form of centralized global governance on AI. They look at it as being dominated by ideologies rather than allowing AI to be beneficial for the whole of humanity. So trying to get global consensus on an overarching set of governing principles is going to be indeed challenging. However, said that, there are impacts that are increasingly risks associated with AI or impacts associated with the increased proliferation of AI within our societies that do merit governments having these conversations and trying to make sure that there are mitigations in place.
Yeah, and when we look at other fields, we see that development is often asymmetric. Is that the case with AI, or is it playing out differently?
Um, Absolutely. I mean, we can see because AI is so resource intensive, and there are big digital gaps, particularly because certainly at its inception, this is changing slightly, requires huge amounts of compute that relies on very stable power sources. So we're still seeing, particularly in continents and across places like Africa, across the global majority, global South countries, that access to AI infrastructure is certainly lagging. Having said that, there are, part of the impact survey that's very, very significant, that this one was held in India. India is actually the third largest now country in AI competitiveness, but really looking about how you begin to close those gaps and begin to ensure that there's more equitable access to the benefits of AI development.
Yeah, India expects more than $200 billion in investments over the next 2 years. What does that mean for a country like India? What does that mean concretely?
And this has been very interesting. I mean, slightly differently from previous AI impact summits, there's been a lot of business deals announced at this particular summit, a lot of infrastructure investment. I think it will certainly consolidate India's position as a voice at the table and leading both on the conversation about governance, on the conversation of where AI is going, but it ultimately opens up huge opportunities for both employment and setting itself up as that sort of second power, uh, following sort of the US and China in magnitude on AI development.
Your specialty, international security. What would you like to see come out of this event?
Uh, Well, it's very interesting because there's a lot going out, being said at this event, and different models of governance. And, we heard Sam Altman talk about there needs to be the equivalent of the Atomic Energy Agency, which is slightly misunderstanding. We don't have that kind of strategic balance right now to think about those overarching global agreements, nor is it a good parallel for it. So we get a lot of things thrown out like that. We've seen the UN present the new International Scientific Panel on AI that's aimed at providing more global, that's a very cross-jurisdictional panel drawn from across countries of scientific experts to sort of keep a watch on where are we with AI. I think what we need to be moving more towards, and in some contexts this is happening, is just this greater transparency, beginning to get some sort of shared agreement in language of what are the most significant impacts that we need to look at in the immediate term. I think when narrative becomes very involved in looking at future risks, we get a pullback of countries that want to be involved in that because they see it as a constraint of innovation. So it's really looking at what are those short to medium term risks that we know about, what are our known knowns that we can actually govern for, and to try and get the agreements on those.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Melanie Garson speaking to us there. Thank you.
Thank you.